Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Born is Life. Today, we're diving deep into the Bitcoin 2025 Las Vegas conference that just wrapped up, and trust me, there's a lot to unpack. But before we get into the groundbreaking announcements and developments, let's take a quick snapshot of where the market stands right now. As of today, May 30th, 2025, the total cryptocurrency market cap sits at approximately $3.43 trillion, down about 5% in the last 24 hours. We're seeing some significant volatility, with the Fear and Greed Index currently reading at 42, placing us firmly in the fear territory, a sharp drop from last week's greed readings in the 70s. The last 24 hours have been particularly brutal for leveraged traders, with over $750 million in liquidations across major exchanges, primarily led by Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP positions. One notable casualty was a Bitcoin whale whose $100 million position with 40x leverage was liquidated earlier today, triggering further market volatility. Looking at the top 5 cryptocurrencies by market cap, we have Bitcoin at approximately $105,280, with a market cap of $2.1 trillion towards. Ethereum at around $2,620, with a market cap of $315 billion. Tether stable at $1, with a market cap of $120 billion. XRP surging to $2.18, with a market cap of $128 billion. Binance Coin rounding out the top 5. Trading volume in the last 24 hours has decreased by about 6.6% to $64.4 billion, with Bitcoin dominance holding steady at around 60% of the total market. Now, with that context in mind, let's turn our attention to what might be the most significant Bitcoin conference of the year, where the future of the industry was being shaped right before our eyes. Perhaps the most surprising and impactful development from the conference was the unprecedented level of government support for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Vice President JD Vance delivered what many are calling a watershed keynote address, framing Bitcoin as the symbol of economic freedom. Vance didn't mince words when he said crypto is our defense against surveillance and poor fiscal policies. This is remarkable coming from one of the highest-ranking officials in the U.S. government. He went on to criticize centralized government control of money. Yes, you heard that right. A sitting vice president essentially criticizing aspects of the Federal Reserve's monetary policy. What's particularly interesting is his take on stable coins. Rather than viewing them as threats to the dollar, as previous administrations have, Vance described them as force multipliers. He emphasized that America should lead this new era of digital finance, not fight against it. This isn't just talk. The administration's actions are beginning to align with this rhetoric. When government officials at this level start embracing Bitcoin so openly, it signals a potential sea change in the regulatory approach. For those who've been in the space long enough to remember the days of constant regulatory FUD, this feels like entering an entirely new era. Moving on to what might be the second most significant announcement, Tether, the company behind the largest stablecoin, is making an enormous bet on Bitcoin mining. Paolo Arduino, Tether's CEO, announced plans to become the world's largest Bitcoin miner by the end of 2025, investing over $2 billion in mining and energy production operations. Let that sink in for a moment. A company primarily known for issuing a stable coin is now positioning itself to be the biggest player in Bitcoin mining. Arduino revealed that Tether currently owns over 100,000 Bitcoin, reported $13 billion in profit last year, and holds $120 billion in US treasuries. Those are staggering numbers that highlight just how profitable the stablecoin business has become. In his speech, Arduino didn't hold back his Bitcoin maximalism, stating, "Bitcoin is perfect, gold is imperfect." It's clear that Tether sees its future deeply intertwined with Bitcoin's success. This move could significantly impact the mining landscape. With that level of capital entering the mining space, we might see increased network security, potentially more decentralization if done right, and possibly even innovations in sustainable mining practices. For the more technically inclined viewers, and I know many of you are, the unveiling of the first versions of BitVM2 bridges might be the most exciting development from the conference. Since BitVM was introduced in 2023, development teams have been working to transform centralized sidechain designs into true Bitcoin rollups and permissionless Layer 2 solutions. The BitVM2 bridges unveiled at the conference could unlock a wide range of decentralized BTC use cases accessible to all Bitcoin holders. Why does this matter? Well, imagine being able to use your Bitcoin in decentralized applications without having to wrap it or trust centralized entities. That's the promise of BitVM2. Some analysts are suggesting that May 2025 might mark a turning point, potentially signaling the decline of centralized crypto and DeFi projects in favor of a Bitcoin native economy. As the saying goes, on a long enough timeline, everything comes back to Bitcoin. This development could fundamentally change how we think about Bitcoin's utility beyond being a store of value. The technical details are complex, involving zero-knowledge proofs and sophisticated cryptography. But the implications are straightforward: more utility for Bitcoin while maintaining its security model. In another significant move, Tether announced it will return to Bitcoin by issuing its stablecoin on Lightning rails via Taproot assets. This is a major development for both the Lightning Network and Taproot assets adoption. For those who might not be familiar, the Lightning Network is Bitcoin's primary scaling solution, allowing for near-instant, low-cost transactions. Taproot assets, formerly known as Taro, is a protocol that enables the issuance of assets on the Bitcoin blockchain. By bringing USDT, the largest stablecoin by market cap, to Lightning, Tether is potentially driving mainstream adoption of Bitcoin's Layer 2 solution. This could significantly increase Lightning Network liquidity and usage. What's particularly interesting is that this represents a full circle moment for Tether, which originally started on Bitcoin's OmniLayer before moving to other blockchains like Ethereum and Tron. Now, with improved Bitcoin scaling solutions, Tether is coming home, so to speak. Jack Mallers, the CEO of Strike, made waves with his passionate speech and a major product announcement. Mallers unveiled a new Bitcoin-backed loan system that will offer loans between $10,000 and $1 billion with interest rates between 9% and 13%. Mallers didn't hold back in his criticism of fiat currency, declaring Bitcoin is the solution to all 8 billion people's problems. He elaborated with one of the most quotable moments of the conference: Bitcoin is money that nobody can print. You can't print, you can't debase my time and energy, you cannot deprive me of owning assets, of getting out of debt, of living sovereignly and protecting my future, my family, and my prized possessions. Bitcoin is what we invented to do that. This loan system represents another step in the maturation of Bitcoin financial infrastructure. By enabling Bitcoin holders to access liquidity without selling their holdings, Strike is addressing one of the key challenges for long-term Bitcoin investors. Michael Saylor, the executive chairman of MicroStrategy and perhaps Bitcoin's most vocal corporate advocate, delivered his 21 Ways to Wealth keynote, emphasizing that Bitcoin is the foundation, not just an investment. Saylor debunked rumors that MicroStrategy is becoming a Bitcoin bank, clarifying that the company is focusing on Bitcoin-backed equity and other Bitcoin-backed credit instruments instead. This is significant because it shows how corporate Bitcoin strategies are evolving beyond simply holding Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Saylor laid out a roadmap rooted in clarity, conviction, and courage, describing Bitcoin as users' source of freedom and abundance. His influence extends beyond MicroStrategy. Eric Trump credited Saylor for motivating them to mortgage Mar-a-Lago to buy Bitcoin, showing just how far Saylor's Bitcoin evangelism has reached. Senator Cynthia Lummis, long known as one of the most pro-Bitcoin voices in Congress, discussed progress in regulation discussions, emphasizing the need for clear rules for crypto businesses while stressing fairness and common treatment for the industry. Lummis has played a significant role in the Genius Act and the concept of a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve. She made a compelling economic case stating, if we bought and held 1 million Bitcoin for 20 years, it would cut that debt in half. This is about having an asset that grows in value while Congress is debasing the currency. This represents a fascinating shift in how some politicians are thinking about Bitcoin, not just as something to regulate, but potentially as a national strategic asset. In what was perhaps the most emotionally charged moment of the conference, Ross Ulbricht made his first public appearance after receiving a presidential pardon. Ulbricht, the founder of Silk Road, shared his experience in jail and emphasized 3 core principles: freedom, decentralization, and unity. His appearance represents a symbolic moment for the Bitcoin community, with Ulbricht expressing his gratitude. Winning your freedom feels as amazing as losing it feels awful. I'm free, and it's because of you. You made this moment possible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For many early Bitcoiners, Ulbricht's case has been a rallying point for years, and his freedom represents the closing of a chapter in Bitcoin's early history. Eric and Donald Trump Jr. expressed their commitment to the crypto space, stating that the USA is going to lead a crypto revolution with full White House support. They criticized traditional finance, especially banking inefficiencies and corruption. Eric Trump credited Michael Saylor for motivating them to mortgage Mar-a-Lago to buy Bitcoin and encourage investors to buy even fractions of Bitcoin. This level of endorsement from the family of the sitting president represents another data point in the remarkable political transformation around Bitcoin. Beyond mining, Tether is also entering the artificial intelligence space. The firm launched a platform called QVAC, aiming to build AI agents that can operate independently using non-custodial crypto wallets. Tether also announced a partnership with Rumble to create a new Bitcoin-first wallet with limited stablecoin support to broaden its appeal to the general public. These moves show how companies in the Bitcoin ecosystem are expanding beyond their core offerings to build more comprehensive platforms. And so what does all this mean for Bitcoin and the broader cryptocurrency ecosystem? Let me offer some analysis. First, the level of institutional and governmental support we're seeing is unprecedented. From the Vice President's endorsement to Tether's massive mining investment, Bitcoin is being embraced by power centers that were once skeptical or outright hostile. Second, the technical innovations like BitVM 2 bridges and Lightning Network improvements are addressing Bitcoin's limitations without compromising its core security model. This could potentially undermine the value proposition of many alternative cryptocurrencies that were built to address Bitcoin's perceived shortcomings. Third, the financial infrastructure around Bitcoin is maturing rapidly. With Strike's loan system, MicroStrategy's evolving corporate strategy, and Tether's various initiatives, we're seeing a more sophisticated ecosystem that can support a wide range of financial activities. Fourth, the regulatory environment appears to be shifting from hostility to cautious embrace, at least in the United States. Senator Lummis's comments suggest that there's growing recognition of Bitcoin's potential benefits, not just its risks. Finally, the cultural significance of events like Ross Ulbricht's appearance shows how Bitcoin remains connected to its ideological roots even as it gains mainstream acceptance. The Bitcoin 2025 Las Vegas conference may well be remembered as a turning point in Bitcoin's journey from a fringe technology to a mainstream financial asset and computing platform. The combination of technical innovation, institutional adoption, regulatory clarity, and cultural significance on display suggests that Bitcoin's position is stronger than ever. As always, it's important to approach these developments with a critical eye. Promises made at conferences don't always translate to real-world impact, and the cryptocurrency space has a history of hype cycles that don't deliver on their potential. However, the concrete actions being taken by major players, from Tether's mining investment to Strike's loan platform, suggest that this time might indeed be different. The involvement of high-level government officials and major corporations indicates that Bitcoin has reached a level of legitimacy that was hard to imagine just a few years ago. If you found this analysis valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe to Bonus Live for more in-depth cryptocurrency content. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm particularly interested in hearing which announcement you think will have the biggest long-term impact. And if you're looking to deepen your understanding of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, check out the resources in the description. Remember, education is your best investment in this space. Until next time, this is Bonnie, reminding you to stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay sovereign. Thanks for watching.